Hello everybody, my name is Maxim Behar. I'm the author of The Global PR Revolution. Is it a revolution or not? You'll be the one to judge after October 1st, because Simon & Schuster will be selling this book all over the United States, and I'm absolutely sure a lot of European publishing houses will sell it in Europe. So you'll be the one to judge whether it's a revolution or not. But I would like to tell you a couple of stories in a couple of short movies or short clips in the near future about the books I've written until now. The first one, I think it was 2009, 99. So 99, 20 years ago, can you imagine? It's called The Secondary Instinct, and the book is published only in Bulgarian language, and these are the journalistic articles, interviews, commentaries, analysis, stories, which I published in a couple of Bulgarian newspapers since 1990 or 1989 even, the year when communism collapsed in the country. And I was a correspondent in Poland. So in this book I have amazing, priceless interviews with the then Polish president, Lech Walesa, with the then Czech president, Václav Havel, with maybe one of the geniuses of the international policy who passed away, I think, a year ago. Zbigniew Brzezinski was a foreign policy advisor and chief security advisor with the President Carter, with the Leszek Balcerowicz, the guy who changed the markets in Eastern Europe. So a lot of interviews. Of course, this book is sold out since many, many years, but The Secondary Instinct was my first step into the writer's field, and very dear for me, and because my message was that all the journalism at the end of the day is a secondary instinct, because the primary instinct or the primary event is the one which is happening. So secondary, the journalist should cover it, should write the story, of course the truth, of course the independent point of view. So Secondary Instinct was my first book. The second one is much more interesting as a story, because one day, and it's bilingual, Bulgarian and English, one day, I think it was 2008, at the very beginning of the global economic crisis, I woke up, went to the shower, and I said, oh my gosh, nobody takes decisions, it's a crisis. So everybody is afraid. There is a huge fear that if you take decision, then you may do it wrong. So I went out of the shower, put my robe, and sat in front of my laptop and wrote, rule number 1, worst decision is better than no decision, which I still believe, because really worst decision is better than no decision. And I put it on Facebook. And then 10 minutes later, someone wrote as a comment, of course a lot of likes and a lot of comments, hundreds of comments after that, but the first one was, Max, which one is rule number 2? So next day I was pushed to write number 2, and the rule number 2 was whatever, was number 2. Let me see which one, because the first one is really, the word decision is better than no decision, but number 2, I wrote, never take yourself too seriously. And I never took myself too seriously, because otherwise the damages are very big. And then, oh my gosh, third day, I should create rule number 3, number 4, number 5. So I started writing rules every single day. And it was rule 99 when and I was in Stockholm, Sweden, early morning in the hotel, the telephone rang up. So I took the mobile phone, and there was a publisher of the Sierra publishing house in Bulgaria. And he said, Max, let's publish this book. And I said, why? It's on Facebook. So potentially millions of readers. And he said, no, let's publish it in a book. I follow these rules, I think they're very valuable, so people will be interested. I said, okay, but I have one condition, not to stop at 100, because he wanted to stop at 100. It was the day I wrote 99. But let's make it 111. He said, why? He said, because it's 111. It shows that you can make a mistake once, you can make a mistake twice, but if you are 3 times number 1, then you are really number 1. So he agreed, and that's how the book 111 Rules on Facebook appeared on the market. A couple of different editions, and one of the editions, my good friend Howard Behar, one of the founders of Starbucks in Seattle, made the foreword. And that's a good story, by the way. I sent to Howard the whole book, and I said, Howard, would you mind if you write 1 or 2 pages forward? And then he wrote me back and said, Max, no, because I don't agree with majority of your rules. And I said, super, Howard, write it. Then he wrote a foreword saying that the book is interesting and this and that, but he doesn't agree, which is perfectly okay. And I was very happy that I had Howard Behar from Starbucks writing forward to me. This book was bilingual, Bulgarian, English, and then it was published, by the way, in India. We sold out with my good friend Yogesh Yoshi 2,000 copies for one evening. And one of the presenters was Lord Daniel Bell, the PR manager for Margaret Thatcher, the former owner and founder of Bell Pottinger public relations company, which was closed last year with unfortunate obstacles, but Lord Bell was one of the presenters of this book. So this is the Indian edition, which I donated all the incomes of those 2,000 books to the victims of the floods in Uttarakhand, India, one of the states which was flooded at that time, 2012. It was published also in Brazil, in Portuguese, by one of the big Brazilian publishing houses, but still the Bulgarian edition is very, very dear for me. And my third book, which we will talk about during our next meeting, is called Generation F. And Generation F is the book before the one which will be available next October all over the US, the Global PR Revolution. Thank you for your attention.